Megabyte continues to take what he can in his conquest of the system, and the system's only guardian is a young sprite who hasn't ever won a game on his own. With the shock over what happened to Bob starting to wear off, reality sets in. Enzo needs to step up and restore hope, but it won't be easy.
Effective as of now, this sector is under my control. You will surrender your PIDs and swear loyalty to me, or pay the penalty.
Surrender our PIDs to you? We're tired of living in fear. The line must be drawn here.
Yes. Delete him. As you may have noticed, resistance is futile.
Between a Raccoon and a Hard Place was written by Len Wein, with story by Gavin Blair, Phil Mitchell, and Ian Pearson. The main cast includes Kathleen Barr as Dot, Christopher Gray as Enzo, Tony J as Megabyte, Shirley Milner as Hexadecimal, Andrea Libman as Andrea, Louise Valance as Mouse and Rocky Raccoon, Michael Donovan as Fawn and Mike the TV, Scott McNeil as Hack, and Gary Chalk as Slash. The episode opens with a game cube set down on a sector in Mainframe, and those around the cube panicking. We quickly switch to Enzo and the others in the principal office, as Enzo laments to Fawn that he and Dot tried their best to get in the game, but Megabyte's forces blocked him out. Fawn mentions that Megabyte did the same thing to Bob once, which doesn't help. The dreaded words get said over the system communications. Game over. The user wins. And all stare in horror at the destruction of the area and nullification of those trapped inside. Mike the TV does a news report lamenting the tragedy and asking where Enzo was when he was needed. Dot goes to dispatch relief efforts, but Megabyte beats her to it, arriving in the area and leading to the scene I showed. All of this in an effort to shadow Enzo's reputation among Mainframe.
So be it. We must fight fire with fire. We must make Enzo a living icon for the citizens of Mainframe. The user must not win another game. Enzo must be seen to become a game hero. A hero who will inspire hope. A light to lead them out of the darkness. A beacon...
Wait.
Fawn's award-winning speech is interrupted by Dot's reluctance to let her little brother ride into games alone. Enzo, of course, protests, saying that he's been in dozens of games, but Dot points out, always with someone else leading the way, as Dot did in the previous episode. In the end, Andrea and Mouse volunteer to go with Enzo. Since they don't have proper PID badges that let them reboot, Mouse copies the function from Enzo's badge, but she's not sure it'll work. Now that the trio is ready, Dot just needs a plan to get them through Megabyte's blockade.
Trust me. You know, Fong, I've been thinking. With the ports to the net closed and locked, Megabyte can't even attempt to get to the supercomputer.
Correct, my child. I'm afraid Bob has effectively locked us in the cage with the tiger.
These still and quiet scenes are another thing that this season really emphasizes. And again it shows its growing maturity, as it isn't afraid to just have the characters sit quietly in thought, or discuss something intriguing without big fanfare. Anyways, we cut to Megabyte in the tour, talking to one of his field commanders. The officer reports that they're in position to block Enzo from the next game. Megabyte, through his conversation, reveals some of what his plan is. He decides it's much more detrimental to keep Enzo alive and have Mainframe witness his incompetence than to kill him and make him a martyr. Even as they're talking, another GameCube enters the system, and the Virals move to intercept movement from the principal office. But Dot has a plan.
Stop or face deletion! Now, put your hands up!
What the?
Sir, I have a lock on another set of sprites. I've got another too, and another, and another! Sir, the whole sky is filled with Dot and Enzos!
The trick is simple but very effective, and Enzo, Andrea, and Mouse manage to slip past the confused soldiers and towards the game. Andrea pretends to lose power in her zip board, and when Mouse moves to help, she grabs her zip board and strands Mouse on the top of a building, while the duo fly in. Once the game lands, putting them on a desert highway, Enzo asks what happened, and Andrea reveals that she stopped Mouse from entering because the icons are untested, and she didn't see the need to risk both of them. This is never confirmed, but I believe she also had an ulterior motive of wanting to play through this game with just Enzo, and maybe also push him into the leadership role more forcefully? Anyways, they soon encounter an older binom who is rebooted as a prospector. He immediately belittles Enzo, mentioning that he's just a kid. Enzo's not having the best day, is he? Meanwhile, back at the tour, we see the repairs on Hexadecimal are complete.
What have you done to me?
You were all but destroyed in an explosion. We had to rebuild you, with some minor modifications.
Who made me look like this? I like it. Well, thank you, dear brother, but I must be going. Bye.
Excellent, Herr Doctor. Now I have my dear sister's power at my command. Nothing can stand before me. Mainframe will burn and Megaframe shall rise out of its ashes.
As Bob would say, this is bad. Very bad. Back in the game, Enzo feeling a bit dejected, but just needing to move on, asks Glitch for game stats. The binom, whom from this point on I shall call Prospector, rejoices, because he's seen Glitch in action. Sadly, Glitch is still broken, so all it can do is name the game, which isn't helpful because there's a big floating sign behind them. This is Rocky the Rabid Raccoon, and I hope you're ready for some Looney Tunes style antics, because that's what you're getting. Andrea reboots into a biker babe, and Enzo into a parody of Elmer Fudd, complete with lisp. And not a moment later, we are introduced to the user character, Rocky, a very jittery and hyperactive cartoon animal who immediately pounces on Andrea for a kiss.
Let's get ready to wumble!
He's too fast! We'll never catch him!
Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting Raccoon.
This Rube Goldberg sequence continues as the wrench lands on a nut on a gas pump and drains all the gasoline out. The sun beams through the empty metallic container where the gas was before, creating a beam of light that ignites a rope behind it, which turns out to be the fuse for a firework. The firework goes off, flies into the air, hits a vulture, and immediately cooks it. And this cooked vulture lands right on top of Rocky's head, who in confusion walks onto train tracks and gets hit by a train. The prospector, having watched all of that craziness, just says, "Lucky shot." Anyways, Rocky still has 2 lives left, and his cartoon antics only get crazier from here.
He's catching up!
Andrea, look out!
I'm getting too old for this sort of thing.
Oh no! Look! Look!
He's got a rocket!
Rocky fires off his very Acme-style rocket and dives into the bunker into the next level. The trio need to move, as the rocket is coming back to blow that level to Kingdom Come. The prospector isn't interested in following Enzo to the next level, so Andrea knocks him out with her nails and they drag him away. They fall off a ledge, but manage to land in a tree, which cushions the drop. All the levels are stacked vertically on top of each other, so I guess that's one way to progress. Back at the principal office, Mouse recounts what happened, while Fawn reassures Dot that Andrea will do everything in her power to help Enzo, because she loves him. Fawn encourages Dot to start working on a plan to get them out of there when the game is won. Meanwhile, Enzo and Andrea meet some more binomes.
He's that guardian, yeah. Geez, a bit young if you ask me, for sure.
No one is asking you.
Oh, gee, what happened to him?
We, rescued him. Rescued? Oh, not a lot like Bob, are you? When Bob rescued you, you stayed conscious, for sure.
Listen, where's Walkie?
Right there. I think.
Rocky runs off for the next level. Enzo tells the others to follow him, but no one besides Andrea really has any faith. Enzo levels with them, telling them, basically, to think whatever they want of him, but acknowledge that if they don't work together, it's game over. Literally. He huddles them together and devises a plan. In the next scene, we're in a dark and creepy cave. Prospector, Andrea, and Enzo are making a human pyramid to reach a coin, which would grant Rocky an extra life if he reached it. Rocky catches up, but they manage to get the coin, and the other binomes above on the surface level throw them down a rope. They grab on and are pulled up, while poor Rocky gets pounced on by some nasty-looking ghosts. 2 lives down, 1 to go. Next, we see Rocky in a subway station, desperate to find food to restore his energy. As he looks around, the greatest song of all time starts to play.
Raccoon searching high and low for the food to make him go. If I catch him in my trap, gonna make me a raccoon hat.
I absolutely love that scene. I've watched it 1,000,000 times and I still chuckle. Anyways, Rocky fails to find food, gets flashed, yeah really, and as he emerges to the street level, gets chased down an alley and ends up stuck in tar or wet cement. Unable to move, he is stuck staring in horror as Andrea and Enzo come around a corner, driving a steamroller.
Uh-oh! This is gonna hurt!
Game over.
We did it!
I called that! I got it!
For sure!
Oh, good job.
Our poor Raccoon antagonist meets his end, the game concludes, and the mainframers celebrate, especially at the fact that Andrea's icon worked and she wasn't whisked away with the GameCube. Megabyte's Goonies do appear, but Dot tricks him again, this time using cardboard CPU cars. Don't think that trick would work? The Allies used inflatable vehicles to fool the Germans. A lot of great things to point out here. A complete tone shift for the game, showing the show's versatility yet again, incredible graphical prowess, basically doing a Looney Tunes episode in full CG, and a big step forward for plot, as Enzo wins his first game as leader. Having won a little trust here, he may still yet rise to be the guardian everyone hopes he will be. A fun, laugh-out-loud tale with strong side characters and important character growth. I give it 3 fedoras.